Thank you, Alan. Good evening. I apologize for coming, Your Honor. I apologize for coming in during your presentation. Alan mentioned this district is huge. Today I'm crisscrossed the district. I was at the northern end earlier. I was working in the southern part of the district. Now I'm here. Again, my name is Elgie Sims. I run for state representative in the 34th district. My good friend back there, our former congressman and former Senate Majority Leader, Connie Howard, I used to work for her in the state legislature. For 10 years, I worked in Springfield. I was the budget director for the Illinois Senate Democrats. Spent 10 years as budget director, or 8 years as budget director, 10 years on staff. At the time of my appointment, I was 24 years old. I was the youngest budget director in the country, the second African American in Illinois history. But after 10 years, I left Springfield because I felt like there were other things we needed to do. So I came back here, put myself through law school. I own my own law firm. I'm also a partner in a consulting firm. So I tell you all of that because I want you to know that I understand how hardworking people go about doing business. You know, making common sense solutions to real world problems. Because that's what we need in legislation. That's what we need in legislation. We've got a problem in Springfield. Springfield has stopped working for us. And I'm committed to making sure that Springfield works for all citizens. Because I want my children, I want your children to have a government that works for them, not the other way around. Too often, government has become about political infighting and backbiting, and it's not being about people. We've got to put government back to work for people. And that's what this race is all about. You're going to hear candidates talk about all kinds of things. But it comes down to a couple things. How we educate our children, how we're protecting our streets, how we're putting folks back to work, and how we're taking care of those who can't take care of themselves. That's what this is about. And as Alan talked about, you know, the biggest thing that you're going to do in Springfield is manage that budget. When you talk about the person's priorities, look at how they're spending money on the budget. Unfortunately, Illinois is editing the bottom in how we educate our children. We're not doing a very good job in how we're making sure that they go about having the skills and tools to make them successful. So we've got to have some real world solutions for how we put our children in the best possible position to be successful. Second, you can't pick up a newspaper, you can't turn on the television without hearing about some child being hurt, maimed, killed. I'm sure everyone in this room has heard about it or been touched in some way. Now, even today, I learned that one of my friends from college, his daughter was brutally murdered. 20 years old. She'll never have grandchildren. She'll never have children. They'll never have grandchildren from her. All because someone didn't know how to manage a situation, because they didn't know how to manage conflict. We've got to get to a situation where we respect each other, and we're also moving the community forward. The problem is, we've got to get tough on crime. We've got to get tough on criminals and smart on crime. We've got to have strategies that put us in the best position to make sure that the things that we're doing have an impact on our streets, so that folks know that you cannot go about doing the things that you want to do, and there not be consequences. We've got to make sure that folks understand that. Also, we've got to get a handle on how we take care of those who can't take care of themselves. Our elderly and our young people. Too often times we balance the budget on their backs. And that is not a strategy that's sound budget. We've got to get a handle on how we go about our business. And until we do that, Springfield is never going to work for us. So I commit to you. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. You know, I hear from folks all the time, Elgie, why are you running? You got a successful legal practice, and you got 2 kids, you don't want to be running up and down the highway. And that's exactly why I'm running. I'm running because I want my kids, I want your kids to have more than what we have. You know, we have a prospect of a generation having less than a generation exceed. So my children will be paying for the debts that my generation incurred. That's not acceptable. We've got to have folks in office who understand how to get things done. And that's why I'm going to Springfield. We're going to make sure that Springfield goes back to work for us. So I could go all night and talk all night, but I'd rather hear from you. Because that's the only way that I'm going to be an effective legislator. That's the only way I'm going to be effective when I get to Springfield, that I engage you and I hear what you think.
2 advanced degrees. At this point, I really don't care if it's a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a conservative. The only question that I have is what are you going to do with the power of your position to secure more jobs in the state of Illinois? That's the only thing that matters to me. Everything else is soundbites. All I want to know is within the power of your position, how are you going to support the creation of more jobs in this state?
Well, that's, you know what? That's an absolutely fair question. You know, that's why I start off. Being a small business owner, I understand how you have to make things work. You know, we reuse paper in our office. You know, we've taken together copy machines and fax machines to get through that. You know, because that's what we do. You know, Main Street is just important. It's just important as well. You got to make sure that we got strategies in place where folks have jobs. We had a job fair in our community recently, and there were 15 positions that we were trying to find folks for. And like you said, we had lines of people, advanced degrees, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, CPAs, all these folks for 15 jobs. And we got to do some things where we are creating jobs. That's why, in my mind, let's invest in small businesses. Let's make sure that, you know, as folks, because when folks want to strike on their own, when you have that talent, you see a need, we need to invest in that. You know, more jobs are made in small businesses than in big business all the time. That's where businesses are. As I was driving in today, I'm looking at all the shops that are here on this street, and all on the shops that when you're driving in. That's where the economy grows. That's where the economy is going to be stabilized, and that's where we got to invest in. We've got to put money into small businesses and helping folks to grow and build new businesses. Because that's the only way we're going to stabilize the economy. That's the only way we're going to grow. Yes, sir.
Can you describe what were the boundaries in your new district?
74th from the north, down to Kankakee, goes from Cottage Road to State Street in Chicago, runs down that basic path down to 187th Street. 187th Street goes over the state line, goes to I-57, like I say, down to Kankakee.
You cut it, Creek Township, right?
Yep. He did. I didn't have any hand in that.
That's okay. We'll let you slide.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
What do you see as the problems with educating our young people?
You know, our kids, no matter what your zip code is, you should have the same high quality education. And oftentimes we do not invest, we're not investing in our children. And too oftentimes the teachers are getting the blame for the failure of us to put enough resources in education. So we've got to start making sure that the resources are there to make sure that the children, because, you know, just like we're having this debate in Chicago right now about longer school. You know, okay, I agree with having a longer school day, but we got to make sure it's targeted to how we're going to make our kids better. You know, we got to increase their achievement in math, increase their achievement in reading, because we're falling behind. If you compare Illinois, there was a study done recently where Illinois received a grade of D in overall education of children from K through 12. Why is that? Because children are falling behind. They're not reading at grade level. They're reading below grade level. 4th graders and 8th graders, 12th graders are reading below grade level. They're doing math below grade level. So we've got to invest in making sure that we bring our children up.
Okay, what do you mean by invest?
Putting resources behind them. Making sure that the money that we spend, the state.
You want the state to come up with more funds for education.
Now, you don't have to. We got money out there. It's how you spend the money. It's how you invest the money. And too oftentimes the money's not being invested right. We've got money being spent in administration in Springfield. We couldn't go into the classroom.
Okay, one of the problems with Illinois, of course, is how we fund education.
Absolutely.
With those property taxes. And I personally don't see how that is going to change the inequitable education that happens in Illinois is partly because of the way we fund education. So what would you do to change that?
Well,
what can be done to change it? Because it's a complex problem. And you're not going to get the downstairs and those that are up here in the north.
Well, you want to see how, now, there I disagree with you.
We're
Because,
talking about Sunday.
let me finish. That's where I say, that's where I think we disagree. Because I think you can come to a situation, if you put the right package together, where downstairs and upstairs will agree, where folks can come together and you can move away from, or you can move there's been enough discussion about how we invest in education and how property taxes is an inequitable way to fund education. You know, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I wrote my senior thesis on how we fund public education a couple of years ago. But so I think you can come to a situation where folks understand that we've got to do things differently, and particularly now, when we're $8 billion in debt, folks understand that we cannot continue to do the things that we did before and expect different results. So I think they're now we have an opportunity.
One way that you think.
You can move a portion of education. You could increase the spending on education by dedicating funds from the income tax and having a corresponding decrease in property taxes. We have pushed that initiative a couple of times, and I believe you're there. I believe now is the time to start, and that's why you need somebody in the legislature who understands how to put together legislation, how to build coalitions, and how to pass legislation. Because I think now is the time. If you're ever going to have that dollar for dollar change in income tax and property tax, time's now.
Anybody else? Thank you for coming down.
All right.